You are totally the biggest mark.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell.
And all these people are a bunch of stinking bums, aren't you?
Reigning United States Heavyweight Champion Bret Hitman Clark.
Welcome everybody to episode 2 of the Late to the Nitro Party Podcast. I'm Zach and this is Clay. We're going to run down the second episode of Monday Nitro from September 11th, 1995 from Miami, Florida. And I'm going to kick it over to Clay for some details about the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? First thing we should note is that Grant is he's a little laid up at the moment.
So he may call in.
He will not be joining us at the start. He may call in later. We'll just have to wait and see. He's having some technical issues with
AT&T.
With his internets. So, just a little bit of background on the show. This is going to be the second ever episode of Monday, or almost said the other show, WCW Monday Nitro. From September 11th, 1995 at the Knight Center in Miami, Florida. Attendance to this show was approximately 5,500 with a paid attendance of just under 3,200. I wasn't able to find any numbers on the gate of this show, but in the future maybe we'll get you some numbers as far as merchandise sales, the live gate, things of that nature. So without any further ado, we're going to get started. So remember, if you're watching this on the network, we're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
And here we go.
So you'll notice here, Vader is still on the introduction here. There he is, right there. We'll see here on this show that Vader, as most of you in the know, already know that he's on his way to the Fed at this point, so they have to come up with a reason why he's not going to be in the War Games match, as we'll see here in a little bit.
There's a view of wonderful Miami, Florida. So, Clay, where are we at? What's the scene? Set the scene for the show.
Well,
this is just after the first one where Lex Luger came in.
This is the go-home Nitro right before Fall Brawl, so we're still setting up the card to Fall Brawl at this time. We'll see a little bit of spillover from the first episode that we reviewed last week. This show is pretty much going to revolve around the match between Hulk Hogan and Lex Luger that was set up on last week's Nitro.
Gotcha.
Bischoff will refer to this match as the match of the century. Just let that sink in for a little bit.
I wonder how many times he says that throughout his commentating career.
Mongo, ladies. Oh my god. So that is a Where's the Beef reference in 1995, and obviously that's dated for today's audience.
1985 commercial,
but that was a dated reference in 1995.
And here we are 21 years later, almost.
Get a Weasel chant.
Nice.
It appears that Mongo is wearing Luger's puffy shirt from last week. So we get a recap of the shouty promo from last week's episode between Luger and Hogan here. So just recapping last week. He's right, you know. I almost think Hogan saying brother is a nervous tick at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
It doesn't make any sense.
Stick that stinking paw.
I laughed at that last week, and it's still funny. Hogan has a little bit of a I don't know, what would you call that? The lower abdomen sort of old lady pooch.
Oh, yeah. The muffin top?
A little bit.
AWOL.
Yeah, as most normal people would say AWOL, but this is setting up the fact that Vader was initially set up to be in the War Games match as part of Hogan's team. He decided grass was greener on the other side, and he's on his way to the Feds, so they're having to come up with a reason why Vader isn't going to be in the match.
So he did not file the appropriate paperwork.
Yeah, which is...
also known as he quit.
Which is wrestling nonsense. I'm a big fan of the old Nitro set. It's so much better.
Yeah.
Did they change it in
99?
99.
To that weird star
They
shape.
made it all futuristic looking. Just wasn't a fan of that. I really liked this in the original Nitro set. So first match coming up, we're going to have Sabu coming out here. It's still strange seeing Sabu on a WCW show. I would point out that his music right here seems really generic. Mm-hmm. His music in ECW is sort of this Arabian theme type of thing. This just seems something they pulled out of nowhere.
This is in their stock library of music.
Right. They wanted something that sounded extreme enough because, of course, he's coming over from ECW at this time.
Suspended in 17 countries. Here we go.
So who we got here?
Das Wunderkind?
Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright, who was 19, either 19 or 20 at the time of this. Really, a guy that had a lot of potential, and it's sort of a shame that his career didn't pan out the way a lot of people thought it would at this time, because obviously right at this time he's pretty young, and of course we'll have later. What was his gimmick after this?
Berlin,
sort of a neo-Nazi type gimmick that
it was horrible.
Didn't really get over.
It was horrible. It was in the dark days of WCW. So Sabu was probably in ECW, 2 months before this, and he's going to be back in ECW probably 2 months after this.
His tenure with WCW isn't very long.
No.
He'll maybe be here between the first 5 or 6 episodes that we'll review. He'll show up again, maybe.
Did they mention the story about why he's patched up, or is that just kind of a gimmick?
Heenan mentions it, said that he's got scars all over his body just to get over the fact that how
badass.
crazy he is.
Mm-hmm. Is Alex Wright a second generation?
Yes, he is. His father was Steve Wright, who wrestled in Japan and in Europe quite a bit. I think Bischoff mentions that coming up.
You can see under that ring.
The fans get into this here. When he starts pulling out chairs and stuff, he does get a reaction. We'll see him smack his head off the floor right there.
Wow.
That smarts. That ain't the first time he's done that in his career, though.
Oh, I just love the 90s fans.
Nice standing drop kick from Alex Wright. We will see. We ragged on Mongo's commentary pretty hard last episode, but we'll see. Pretty much all Mongo gives to the broadcast is constant, incessant football analogies.
I've noticed that
It's a real nice missile drop kick from Alex Wright there. Good height on that.
Mongo quite often forgets the names of the people in the ring. He refers to a lot of people as that guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you play professional football and take shots to the head, that'll happen to you.
Yeah, concussions. It'll do that to you.
It's a second plancha of the match.
I don't think it looked too good either.
Heenan's doing his damnedest to try to save this
yeah.
commentary team, but it's just not going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
This is at a time where a superplex still got a crowd reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a move we see in almost every match nowadays, but I mean, that move really gets over still at this time.
This time era is really the start of the cruiserweight era. You're going to start seeing a lot more of that stuff.
Here in the coming weeks, we will see more stars from Mexico, Japan, and more of a usually in introductory matches where they really try to get the crowd into it. We got a German suplex with a 2 count by Wright. He's going up top. You can really tell that Mongo's he's almost reading off a script. His commentary is so forced.
He has no clue what's going on.
Kind of a neat victory
move
roll
there,
type maneuver off the top. Now, here's something. Who do you think screwed up there?
I think it was the ref. I don't think he was supposed to get the 3.
It was either Alex Wright or Nick Patrick. I'm not really sure who screwed up that 2 count. You can see Patrick getting down and saying something to Sabu right there, but we'll see in the replay. Sabu looks directly at the ref when he counts that 3. I don't believe that was supposed to be the end of the match, but you'll see here they kind of work the end of the match how they would have,
They finished the match the way it
even though the
would've
bell's
happened.
already been rang.
Because when have you ever heard of? Well, we'll just see what happens.
Spoiler alert. Notice the giant gig mark on the bottom of the table to make sure it breaks.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this right here is how the match was supposed to end.
Ooh.
So Sabu and Alex Wright both go through the table.
And the ref calls for... Yeah. When does that ever happen?
So, I'm assuming this match was originally supposed to end in a disqualification win for Alex Wright, but because the finish got screwed up, they just went ahead, did their spots, and the ref reversed the decision. So, they were kind of having to work on the fly.
Let's watch it again.
Sabu, just, what the hell, man? Yeah.
Wait, that isn't what we planned on?
Bischoff's horrible. So coming up, we got VK Wall Street, Mike Rotundo, IRS versus Sting for the United States Championship. But first,
ECW.
we got Mean Gene Okerlund in the ring. So we got Nate coming out here to do a promo.
Who they proceed in burying in the next 4
in the
to
next
5
year
years.
or two. It's pretty upsetting. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that.
All of his interviews are gold, though. Is he involved in the War Games?
No, he's got a match with Arn Anderson.
Oh,
at Fall
that's right.
Brawl.
That's the feud they're in. It's hard not to just listen to him when he talks. Who are the Horsemen at this time? I guess they're broken up at this point. But
crap. There's Luger.
Arn.
We had a great promo going, and here's Luger.
Arn,
Double A, Flair, Pillman. That's
Benoit?
good. That's good. No, Benoit hadn't joined. Benoit was still in Japan at this point. That's a good question. I don't think it was. I think this is after the short-lived Paul Roma era of the Horsemen, but that's a good question. Anybody in the comments, go ahead and let us know that. I'm not able to pull that out of my brain at this point. So, why is Luger even out here? He's not in a program with Ric Flair. He's wrestling Hogan.
Who knows?
So he comes out here, says that, and immediately leaves.
Pointless.
That served no purpose.
Wow.
All it did was interrupt an awesome Ric Flair promo. Thank you very much, Lex Luger.
Wow,
and
that was
look,
pointless.
I want to point out these people that we rag on people a lot on this show. We understand these people are human beings. Nobody's perfect. Lex Luger's fought a lot of demons in his life. It sounds like he's came out the other side, thank goodness. But it's all in good fun.
Plus, they're being told what to do by Bischoff, so they may have had no clue what they're out there for.
Right.
To say.
Just really seems like they sent Luger out there without a point, like just because.
For a pop.
We'll see there just a little bit ago, Bischoff reading a Fall Brawl promo directly from his notes. But right now, so that Mongo can't talk, please God get to this next match. Okay.
Oh, is he really?
U.S. title match here. Nobody cares.
I think the U.S. title is one of the best looking titles.
At this point, I really like this U.S. title belt. Mm-hmm. So, Mike Rotunda coming out here to a pretty tepid reaction. Nobody really cares.
Boos everywhere.
We talked about last week how instead of Michael Wall Street, he's now going by VK Wall Street, which is a pretty obvious shot at Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Bischoff acting like he doesn't know what it means is pretty funny since he's the one that came up with it.
Yeah.
It looks like that $sign was written on his lapel of his jacket by like a second grader with glitter and Elmer's glue. Have you ever actually listened to the lyrics of this song?
He does this, he does that. He's the man called Sting.
Pretty much. It is pretty nonsensical.
Uh-huh.
But Sting's awesome, so who cares?
Yeah. He's in amazing shape at this.
Yeah, he looks
point
really
in his career.
good. Glad to see Stinger going into the Hall of Fame this year. Guy deserves it, even though he's got jobbed out a little bit in his WWE career. But
so, did we ever check what was going on at Raw at this time?
It would have probably involved Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, or Sean Waltman.
Right.
Or Paul Levesque.
It's probably the Taker Diesel feud at this time.
Taker Diesel, Michaels Diesel, something like that, I'm sure. But we ain't here to talk about that. We're here to talk about WCW.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they are winning in ratings immediately.
At this point?
Immediately.
So, I'd like to point out something that came out of Mongo's mouth just a little bit ago. They're trying to knock WWE Raw or WWF Raw at this time. Mongo says it's named after a bunch of uncooked eggs. Who writes this shit?
Oh, man.
He is terrible. I am really looking forward to having... I never thought I'd say this, but I'm almost looking forward to Tony Schiavone at this point.
Yeah. That's a bit of an upgrade. I think Shivani is, he's a good announcer, just his personality sometimes is a
Yeah.
little off.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Larry Zbyszko
Oh, yeah.
on commentary.
Oh, yeah. The living legend.
I think it's short. We may have missed it. At the introduction of this match, Bischoff does give away the results to Raw. He says something to the effect of, "Don't even bother tuning in. It's 2 or 3 weeks old. Shawn Michaels beat Diesel with a super kick, yada, yada, yada." So Bischoff's playing dirty at this point, which in the future we'll see doesn't really do him any favors because he pisses Vince right the hell off with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sting is in great shape here. IRS looks a little soft, which may have something to do with his ring gear. Kind of
Right.
covers some of that up. You'll notice by watching this match, Wall Street's ring gear doesn't really fit. He's constantly adjusting himself all the way through the match, which is a big... I talked last episode about hating when guys look at the ref. I also hate when a guy takes a real big bump, but he's got the wherewithal to adjust his
Pull up
trunks.
his pants,
I
yeah.
hate that.
I agree.
Sell the move.
Really. Did they ever face each other in the WWF?
Luger and Hogan? No, Luger didn't come in until the summer of '93. That was the Lex Express. Basically right after Hogan
Right when Hogan left.
left, right.
Because Hogan left after King of the Ring, 93.
Rotunda is a good worker, though. I mean, he may not be in the best shape of his career here, but the guy can still go well enough to get through a match. Former All-American wrestler at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Father of Bo Dallas and
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
And who is his father-in-law?
His father-in-law is one of the Blackjack Mulligan.
Blackjack Mulligan.
One of the Blackjacks
Right.
is his father-in-law. So pretty important wrestling family,
Yeah.
really.
Bit of a dynasty.
And you'll see him adjusting his shorts.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of a non-move.
He has a knee lift type thing.
Stinger splash.
Stinger splash. Always gets a big pop. People love that. Sting is in.
Probably the best shape of his
So
career.
we got crossbody from the top for the 3. Sting retains his U.S. title. You know, they gave Rotunda a big vignette last week, so how do we get this guy over? We job him out to the U.S. champ in
Right.
about 5-6 minutes.
And that's pretty much the end of his career.
Yeah, I mean, he'll show up later in the NWO for a short time. I mean, he's around, but lower mid-card from this point
He was
on.
NWO for a while?
Yep, I believe so.
Huh. I don't
Early
know that.
days, like
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase days of the NWO.
Why, Mongo?
Mongo's always got to get that last little stupid comment in there.
Disco Inferno.
Oh, this is the debut. We got a promo for the debut of the Disco Inferno, who, say what you will about the guy, was really with the company from this point until the end. So he seemed to be a good company guy. I mean, he wasn't afraid to job to whoever.
Saw the Renegade a little bit ago. He was their answer to the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that was a little bit before this time, before the Nitro era. That was an ill-conceived gimmick that was obviously a knockoff of the Ultimate Warrior. Mm-hmm. Pretty, they were reaching for straws at that time to find opponents for Hogan.
They're really going to try to push Norton at this time. He doesn't really get over too well, though.
It's really a shame, too, because I enjoy Scott Norton. Guy is over as hell in Japan.
Oh, yeah. He either is, or shortly before or after this, the IWGP champ.
Yeah, right around this time. I mean, he may have just dropped it at this point. I'm not sure.
I guess at this point, I don't know if WCW is still tied in with NJPW, because they used to have super shows like in the
yeah, I'm sure they are, because I mean we've already seen Jushin Liger on the show, so I'm sure they have some sort of talent exchange deal at this point.
We got Slim Jim, Macho Man, Randy Savage here.
Yep. Good on Bischoff there mentioning that. Norton's arm wrestling background. Savage is over as hell, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he gets a hell of a pop when he comes out. They do a good job of making Norton look very strong in this match. Savage puts him over pretty big.
McNuggets,
I don't know if anything ever... We'll see in coming weeks, but I don't know if anything ever happened with this feud between Mongo and Scott Norton.
Has Mongo wrestled yet? I mean, was he brought in as a wrestler? I think at this point
he's just a commentator. I don't think... Which, the fact that guy was in the Four Horsemen is almost a travesty.
Yeah.
So we get a sunset flip into a choke spot. We'd like to thank the good people at Busch Light for providing the beverages tonight.
Yeah, got to open another cold one.
Double axe handle from Savage to the floor. Norton does sell out for a few of Savage's moves. For obviously being the bigger guy, he sells some of the moves that Savage gives him. That clothesline he turned himself inside out for.
Savage can sell.
He's selling his back right here. That's going to be sort of the story of this match, is that Savage, from that bear hug, is selling an injured back or ribs area.
Oh, I'm sure he does. He would be paralyzed, by the way. Ha, 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 ha.
We apologize for Mongo, folks. Just throwing that out there, if the good people at Anheuser-Busch would like to do some sort of brand deal,
we're open to
we're
that.
open to it. That doesn't make any sense. He's like a piranha, so he's going to have a bunch of his other piranha buddies come out and beat Savage up. Like, one of the many nonsensical analogies that Bischoff will throw at you. And more football analogies from Mongo. Thank you very little.
You got to admit, though, Mongo is on the best football team ever. The 85
Arguably,
Bears.
yeah. I mean, I love Norton's offense. It looks incredibly... That's some power right there. Taking him from a backbreaker into a press slam. Who was the guy at Wrestle Kingdom 10 that wrestled Jay Lethal?
Oh, that's... Damn it. If you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you.
It's escaping me at this point.
He looks just, I mean...
He's very reminiscent of Scott Norton,
yeah.
not only in his look, but in his moveset as well. Norton, the beautiful power slam there by Norton, his offense looks awesome. He just very powerful, very clean, very snappy when he wants to.
Michael Elgin.
Michael Elgin?
Michael Elgin.
There you go. Just pulled that right out of your head, huh?
Oh, my cell phone. I got to give me one of the Macho Man hats. There's a few fans that
Big
had those
styrofoam
on.
hat.
The big styrofoam
It's a big hat.
green
It's
hats.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Right over there.
So,
Yee.
Norton tries for a sort of a suplex, but he turns it into a draped DDT over the top rope that Savage landed sort of awkwardly on. Didn't look real good on his neck. Savage counters with a face buster on Norton, who's coming off the top rope.
Okay.
Oh, he's horrible. Savage making his comeback.
Oh, God. Here comes
Poor
Shark.
John Tenta. So one of the many run-ins of the Dungeon of Doom.
Who is the, is that Kamala?
Kamala, right.
Okay.
So, the finish to this match is
Shark falls
you
on
can
Norton's
either
legs.
look at the size of Kevin Sullivan's shillelagh he's running into the ring with. Dear Lord.
Oh.
He almost brains Ed Leslie with it.
God, the Dungeon of Doom.
We have this convoluted finish with John Tenta, who is known as Shark at this time, but if you're listening, Bischoff calls him Avalanche, which is his previous gimmick with WCW. Assign your guy maybe has too many gimmicks when your announcer can't keep him straight. But Shark comes in, eats a knee from Norton, is knocked unconscious, quote unquote, falls on Norton's legs, allowing Savage to hit his top rope elbow and score a 3, which I'm not really sure why the ref counted that 3. Shouldn't that be like a no contest or something? I mean, you have a 400-pound man laying on the guy's leg, so
Technically, Shark got the pinfall.
if nothing else, Norton should win by DQ.
Exactly.
I said it last week, John Tenta deserves better. Really one of the nice guys in the business.
Just dealt horrible gimmicks throughout his career.
I mean, tragically he's passed away, but he did a lot for the wrestle crap community back in the day. I mean, really a good guy.
I do love Luger's theme music. I always have.
It's generic, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's just some guy with like a Fender Stratocaster hooked up to a single amp, and they just tell him to just make up theme songs?
Well, most of these theme songs were wrote and played by Jimmy Hart.
Really?
If you look it up, yeah. Jimmy Hart does probably 80% of the theme songs in this time.
So, main event already?
Well, when you only have an hour.
Yeah, comes up quick.
Muscular Dystrophy Association. Bader, huh?
Yeah, they didn't have time to change their promo. That kid in the back looks terrified that he's sitting next to Randy Savage.
Asheville, North Carolina.
That's WCW country. That's Flair country.
Flair country.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Paul Stanley?
It sounds like it.
It
but
sounds like Paul Stanley.
I don't know.
If anybody has knowledge of this, please comment who sings this, the American-made
It does sound
Hulk Hogan
just
theme.
like Paul
Sounds a
Stanley.
hell of a lot like Paul Stanley from Kiss, but I have no way of knowing for sure. So we've got main event for the evening, Hulk Hogan versus Lex Luger for the WCW World title.
There's still some fans of Hogan's out there, but the boos start coming
Yeah,
in.
there is some
the weeks
booze
to
mixed
come.
in there. That's about the 7th football analogy that Mongo's given tonight.
I'm sure he is.
So we start the match, sort of a feeling out process. Match gets started a little on the slow side, but you really wouldn't expect too much from these guys.
You know, if this match were 3 years earlier, it would have been huge. This could have been a WrestleMania main event.
Very, very true.
Hogan versus Luger. But at this point, it's a good match. I mean, if you were watching this live in this era, I mean, you'd be pretty pumped about it. But nowhere near what you would have been in 93, really. Just 2 years before this. I mean, McMahon had Luger set to be the next Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, and really, steroid trial really put an end to Luger's push because he decided to go with Bret Hart, which was probably the right move. But Hart being a smaller guy, a little different body type. Bischoff running down Luger's football career.
He played for Green Bay, is that what they said?
Played for Green Bay Packers in 83 and 84, I believe. And according to Bischoff, I have no way of knowing if this is correct or not, but he was the youngest player to ever play in the CFL at 19 years old.
Really? Huh.
Some actual wrestling from Hulk Hogan.
You're not going to see much more of this.
No, and that's the end of that.
Legs. There you go.
Legs,
Bischoff.
feet, whatever you want to go. Luger, Hogan getting a taste of his own medicine.
Oh,
Luger
yeah.
no sells a vertical suplex.
Listen to the fans. They love it.
Yeah, I mean, that gets a good reaction.
I'd say they're about 50-50, the Hogan marks and the guys
I'm not
booing.
sure, but I almost thought I heard a Luger chant
Yeah,
earlier in the
yeah.
match. Hogan telegraphs a back body drop and vertical suplex to Hogan, which Hogan no sells.
Uh-huh.
Hogan just keeps hiking those trunks up. They're going to be up to his tits here in a second.
Oh, man.
About the third headlock of the match, which we knew coming in this wasn't going to be a technical display.
Right, right. We gotta get a Hulk up here.
That comes later.
Huh.
Smart move by Luger. Back body drop by Hogan.
Yeah. Hogan's showing a little bit of offense in this match.
Once again, Bischoff running down the Fed, saying that the champion, I believe he's referring to Kevin Nash, never made it past the mid-card in WCW as he was Vinny Vegas, and what was his other gimmick? Oz. Can't believe that didn't get over.
Where he actually came to the ring in a full wizard outfit.
With, like, little people, I think. Hogan's in the torture rack already, folks.
Let's pay attention to the...
Okay, so one. He's got one arm drop.
And two.
Two arm drops.
And
three arm drops. Give him the belt.
Luger wins.
Oh, there's four. No. Randy Anderson is in Hogan's pocket.
A typical Hogan Bischoff
Luger
finish.
showing a little hungry butt there. A little wedgie going on. He did win. Thank you. Give him the belt. It's over. And here we go. Goes for the pin. People are not happy with Hogan hulking up right here. He's not getting a very big reaction.
The same finish of every
they
Hogan
are
match since
not really
1984.
into this.
This is technically the 11th year of Hulkamania. People are kind of sick of it.
Yeah. What's he say to him when he points the finger at him?
You.
No, but you see him like mouthing stuff.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to his mouth.
Like,
that
what's
time.
he saying?
He's just moving his lips.
The big leg from Hogan and Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
Ed Leslie, Kamala, Ming, Kevin Sullivan, and John Tenta.
Who is Kamala otherwise?
I think he's been Kamala. He's been working the Kamala gimmick for a long. I mean, in 92, 93 WWF, he was Kamala. He had a feud with The Undertaker, had a casket match.
Gotcha.
I think that same guy's been working that same gimmick for quite a while at this point.
Poor guy. Did a fan just try to get into the ring? Did you see that in the bottom right?
I guess I didn't. Did John Tenta boot his ass out of there?
Yeah.
Sweet. John Tenta, former Gaijin sumo wrestler in Japan.
Nice.
And the Dungeon of Doom just sort of leaves. So Savage and Sting come out to make the save for Hogan. So we've got Mean Gene in the ring now. And I'm sure we can look forward to another shouty promo between Hogan and Luger.
Got the old man with the binoculars in the crowd.
Because he's tired of jobbing to you, Hogan. He's going elsewhere. Really, that main event didn't really... I mean, that was a pretty short match.
Yeah.
It's really more to set an angle to set this promo up.
Right. Luger and Stinger, good friends in real life.
You know it's a shouty promo when the mic's feeding back.
Right. I ain't talking.
One of the few times we'll see, unfortunately, in this era where there's more alive people than not alive people in the ring.
Right. Yeah, Macho's the only dead person in that ring.
Yeah, that don't happen that often this day and age.
Why Jimmy Hart?
Let's get Jimmy Hart in here. Why not? Because he needs a job.
Uh-huh.
Watch Luger vote against himself. He's like, I don't want any part of this shit. I vote no. See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already done that.
Yeah. Oh, Savage is great.
Savage is by far the best guy on the stick out
Yeah.
of those four. Mongo has a dog again for
Pepe.
some reason. So, Pepe, was that Chavo's
Stick
hobby horse?
Yeah.
So we've set up War Games. Luger is going to replace Vader in the main event War Games match at Fall Brawl here, coming up in a week from this point.
Yeah, we're looking at the Dungeon of Doom versus, I guess you'd call it, what are they, the Hulkamaniacs at this point?
I guess.
And we got Flair, Arn. What else is on that card? Any idea?
Not sure. Tell you what, next week we'll have a rundown of the Fall Brawl card for you.
Buff Bagwell and Scotty Riggs.
American males, we'll get to see them in action.
All right. That's it. Clay?
So, that is episode 2 of WCW Monday Nitro. What are our thoughts going into Fall Brawl?
It's looking to be... Actually, if I were to be watching this live, I'd be more excited about the Flair Arn match
me
than
too.
the actual main event, really.
I mean, people are getting fed up with Hogan's shtick at this time. We've talked about that already.
Dungeon of Doom is just horrible.
Dungeon of Doom,
Worst gimmick ever. Everyone.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Kevin Sullivan's booking at this time.
Yeah,
which
you're
would have a
probably right.
lot to do with the Dungeon of Doom being in the main event quite often.
I think you're right. I think Kevin Sullivan does have the book at this time.
Yeah. So
Dusty... I don't know if Dusty's around again yet or not.
we'd have to do some research on that. If anybody knows for sure, be sure to leave a comment and let us know. But, yeah, I mean, the Dungeon of Doom it almost sucks the life out of the show. And it's not that the Dungeon of Doom has necessarily all bad performers in. I mean, Kevin Sullivan's okay.
Actually,
Really,
most of the people in the group are potentially good performers.
John
I don't know about old Ed Leslie.
well,
but
Ed Leslie's
he had
just
his
there
day, but it
because
was
Hogan got him a job.
Yeah.
But
a bunch of good guys with horrible gimmicks. Horrible.
yeah, I mean,
gimmicks.
John Tena, for a big man, he's a very underrated big man. I mean, Ming, King Haku. I mean, he's got some good longevity. He's been around a while. From everybody you hear listen, he's really one of the toughest guys in wrestling. I mean, legitimate tough guy. So let us know what you think down in the comments, and we will see you next week at Late to the Nitro Party.
See you later.